Yeah, me personally, I haven't had acts of tribalism being perpetrated against me, but sometimes indirectly you encounter something. There was once where a group of people speaking Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
an account guy within our midst who was also speaking Ghana because I'm also Tiakra is here. There was an account person who was passing by, noticed that the guy was speaking Ghana, and the person was like, now also what kind of crime? There's a difference between what
Wow.
now also.
Tabudi now actually maybe I'll feel free. Then I think my viewers would love to know who you are, a little bit about yourself, like let's say your tribe, so they will better understand your perspective.
Okay. Maybe can will be no matter what for opportunity actually discussion. I think it's long overdue. I was a tidy now. If we want to bridge some of these gaps and make things work in peace within us, and come I was a tidy, but most of the time I say they try to blow it away. I mean, we still time we bring from it and we may a goddamn if we are bigger down to be precise. So the background yeah, I'm done with.
So, but a lot of people don't know the difference between the Ghana and the Ghana Dangbe. What's the difference?
Okay, difference. Now, let's say we if we one lineage, but the difference is kakra or language anymore. Whereby the Dangbe a different kakra saying Ghana. Into Dangbe for no consist of what a pam and a crop of one. What Dangbe and a for and crying for.
Okay.
So we are all within the greater Accra region, but that
okay. Wait there before we go on with our conversation.
Okay.
And it's a Ghana. They can say Ghana. It looks more like say I can't follow a majority, and most of the minority tribes, most I am a degree, ETA, call it tribal, what I say. We are the most people who always call them tribal card. Now, Okatem said, well, you're minority. I just want to know, is it Ghana, is it majority or minority? I just want clarification.
I think she's understanding the word minority when you put it about the majority and minority. And I think she's misunderstanding it. She feels that when you say minority, you are making her inferior or something. But we are a minority tribe.
Because don't forget we are the capital of Ghana. Yes, I do appreciate that.
But when we talk about majority and minority, we are talking about the population, and we can't dispute that. Said the Akan population, also saying all the other tribes combined, the Akan population is 47, almost 48% of the country. So other tribes share the remaining 42% now. Akan. So whether you like it or not, you will be a minority. Akan acquire 47%, almost 48%.
Okay.
Kind of, we are split amongst the remaining percentage now. So you are a minority. Even the Gadambe community, it's about 7.5%.
Oh, wow.
So it's a minority, just that.
Because I think said the average are even like 13%.
13%, yes.
Wow. I never knew that. Anyway, but before saying the question, I said, I'm for say, why is it always the case of a minority calling out someone being tribalistic? I say, majority in Tanya, it's always the minority who always calls will be a tribalistic. Why is that the case?
I would want to say, I believe, when you are a majority now, you don't get to face some of these discrimination, And I think I can boldly say, majority of Akans have never faced any discriminatory acts. They only face discrimination when they travel outside the country. So sometimes they do not understand some of these sentiments that minorities speak about. Because almost in share. Yeka asemia yeke. People might deny it and say correct will be a PCB. But if you are objective, now they will need to go from our own pass. The majority, doesn't necessarily get. I mean, how do you become how are you a minority and discriminate against the majority? It doesn't happen that way because most there be a discrimination. CBR, a majority, and a perpetuates our discrimination against the minority. You cannot be a minority and actually be discriminating against people who are superior than you, majority than you. It doesn't work that way. So in case of everything, they have the numbers in everything. So how do you discriminate against them when they have the numbers? About voting, we know about the BBR, they have it. So it's that's why it's always the majority that's actually being blamed for discriminatory acts.
Okay. Do you think it's the tribalism word is being overused by the minority in Ghana?
No, I don't think it's being overused because I think tribalism is an issue we have tried to shove under the rugs and act as if in a community, but there were a community in the
okay.
Most of the time. So you realize that most of the people, I wouldn't say everybody, but most of the people who will claim there is no tribalism in Ghana are people who belong to the majority tribe.
Okay.
There's nobody within the minority tribe who will tell you that there is no tribalism within the country. So that goes to hammer on the point said the majority, have not actually faced discrimination or tribalism before, so they don't see it. So when you speak to most of them, they tend to act as if tribalism is non-existent. I remember a time when Dr. Rekubrobe was interviewed in Joy FM or City FM, one of them, and the issue of tribalism came, and he denied it. He said there's no tribalism in Ghana, and everybody was surprised. Everybody on the panelists were like, are you sure? No, there's no tribalism. Nobody could believe it. But so I believe the majority, because of their lack of experience when it comes to some of these things, I don't know if it's deliberate.
Okay.
But yeah, they most of the time shove it under the rug and act like it's non-existent, but it is.
Okay, so how different is tribalism back home and tribalism here in diaspora? Like Abuchi tribalism and Ghana tribalism. What's the difference?
I think in a way, it's sad when you are on your own land and you are experiencing it. I think when you come into the diaspora now, you don't actually feel it that much because once we get here, people actually don't know the difference between us. Where are you from? You're from Ghana. And one Omunim. So it's us who are experiencing the kakra. But because you are outside of your country, you don't seem to care that much. Because one core community anymore, you don't experience that thing. But when you are home, that is your homeland. Whether you like it or not, you mix with other tribes. So it is always in your face. You can't hide away from it. But when you are here, you have the luxury of choosing to be within amongst Ghanaians or not. If you feel maybe you're facing tribalism and you do not want to face it, you can choose to stay away from places where they are. But when you go back home, you cannot stay away. It's within your face. You are always mingling with people. So I think it's the same thing, but just that here you have a choice to decide whether you will go within the Ghanaian community if you feel discriminated upon. But you have no choice.
Okay. Yeah. Now, tribalism, anything. What is tribalism? A lot of people who are on TRC say, people don't even bother to even know what they really. If you want to know yet, but we need to classify tribalism. Tribalism, anything.
Yeah, tribalism, then said, who exalted will tribe higher than another tribe.
Okay.
Whereby we feel as a whole tribe, maybe as a mupena muyenipa. No be tribe there, as a the omunshada and yamun kahun be some yenipa. A honor tribalism. Into back decisions be prayer. O try say, Ubi puti won't call for no. I that people tell us here. Internet issues now arising. So there is your tribal pride where there also be proud of where he or she is coming from. So it is. They didn't say overcast will be a minority on yeah, because there's that pride. Say, yeah, this is where I'm from. But that's just because the person is misunderstanding what you mean by the minority. The minority is in terms of population. So it is here. So and none are now one person but that's it. So everybody has to be proud of where they are coming from. Whereby
so what's the thin line between like being proud of your tribe and being tribalistic towards the own tribe?
So that's the difference. You have tribal pride and tribal bigotry. Bigotry in where we try to say more the energy as you be in Japan, more pena more the banyansa, more pena kwa the more nyansa na more pena muni nisa muni Japan. A whole issue whereby you try to exalt your tribe over the other tribe. That is where the issue comes. So, but being me Gadan Beni, yeah, me papa no me ancestry, how you free, you speak with pride. You decide say, he found out free, I want to be born with pride and not be shy. Say, okay, Hannah be free. Permanent tribal pride, where you have to be bold enough to be able to insist, say, Hannah be free, proud about it, not be shy about the fact, say, Hannah be free. That's tribal pride. But then bigotry, you blame on the tribalism, you blame what yes, on upon the other tribe, yes. Okay. I would any better than obedient. That is where it comes from.
Wow. Now, just like Ghana as a country, you have tribal issue. Because you call one out. It's a Rwanda more to see. Any who to snap on to Kwaku. If you can't say tribalism, we can't do Ghana here, no, man. And yeah, there is said your kind of majority, which is the Akan tribe. Most of them would tell you, say, you need to be sour. We can say your problem is I will say address as a nation.
Yes, we do have a problem with tribe, and you realize that whenever we have certain discussions and people tend to make certain comments, the whole nation riles up and become agitated whenever they have tribal comments. So yes,
give us an example.
I'll give an example. Like for example, your former president John Dramani Mahama recently said something about an Achin mafia and Achin Kawabo. You realize that the president is His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is very offended by that statement, because a statement you of course said it's placing the tribe within a certain context be on pet. So we do have on the surface you might think say we do not have tribal issues, but when we try to cross over, like when marriages and stuff are taking place, a whole lot who say tribal issues. Okay. Growing up, sometimes we do not see some of these things because maybe our neighbor are down for and I'm a different tribe near here. But when when we become young adults and marriages are beginning to take place, we yes, we have an issue with tribe. So until then, on the surface, we have subtle comments where people pass here and there. Who say about tribalism, but hidden. There's this website at the point in time, anytime you have the article, the Ghana web, just go and read the comment section and you see the tribal comments and and it's always, it was going on for years. I don't know if they found a way to put a stop to it, but that was what was happening on that page, Ghana web. Anytime they put an article there and you go and read the comments, oh my god, very polarized argument.
People are just blinded by their tribe.
Yes.
I feel like if Nipani to a tribe, no matter what, whether we're wrong or right,
yes, they have to support the person. So we do have an issue with tribalism, but one show you and if you are not an objective person and speak to truth, you try to deny it and be like, or maybe you are part of the majority, so you haven't actually experienced it before, so you don't actually see it. But the issue comes when you don't see it, you haven't experienced it, and people are pointing it out to you, and you make it look as if you become dismissive about it and make it look as if it's non-existent. That's where the issue comes. And I think a lot of people encounter that issue whereby omoka will be say oh inferiority complex na inferiority complex.
Now, lady video so share.
Yes, I watched the lady's video. Yeah, I did watch it.
What is all right and all wrong?
I agree with her 100%, 100%. I think no, nobody I knew or can also started an issue from a certain angle, and she articulated it very well. Even if that is not what happened now, said you're presenting issue, she didn't make any mistake anyway.
Okay.
You approach someone, which is very normal within our community to approach someone and realize, oh, we are Ghanaian, and then start speaking Tree. It's very normal within our community because Tree, the dominant language, you can't cross out here. We will call all around the regions. I think that you will find 1 or 2 people over there who can understand Tree and speak it as well. So it is not new if somebody approaches you and speaks Tree with you. And from her video, so she didn't have a point with that. But then the issue arose when Okacho and Nipan said, oh, on Tree. Yeah, was I forcing to say, dear Intina on Tree. No. Yeah, not to say on your propaganda, or a show so or your Ghana. Where Ghana, no, Tree mean a national language. Obia can come kasa. Some people are fortunate to actually know other languages as well. Okay. I don't believe say Uko Kumase now could be say or Tiaigena or Casa on Tiaigbe and not on Tin Crying. No Casa on Tin Crying. Obeka say on Tin
yeah. Hold it right there.
Okay.
Me last interview now me you guy and say if it's a lady no on Nam Street in Sunanka will be approaching no bisa and say or then cry it was maybe a day or 10 or whatever. I know Captain say maintain crying. And then panic as any one thing crying you are not Ghanaian enough and be offended now.
Yes, she has the right to be offended and she should be offended because of the issue near Khan. There is no one language for the country. So we have different tribes. If Brofuna you said Ubi our school biadi and the Brofu want to be obeying to Chana Hokakra. I get Colonial Masters Zija and into the Yidna into a no dear who approaching with Brofu, that's fine. But who are approaching with a different language? No, so mean our language way. Now when I make you cannot say because I want to say our language way, who near Ghana. And so I throw that question back to that person. So that person will say Obani Tichi into Obani in Ghana ni papa. Or no Obani Krum Kazana ye I no ever no. Or no Tiana into say girl also Kaza also won't say event, you also in Ghana near. Well done. So they understand say Chino can for Casa. And yet for say was so be at it. It's just a virtue of something, Intina. And nobody has any problem with that. But when you approach someone with a language the person doesn't understand, no, it's so let's speak either English or something. Yeah, you should understand it. But for you to cross that and try to tell him or her, say, oh, I'm teaching you and you're Ghana and Nigeria, I think that was very insulting and it's offensive. So say, they get it defensive because nobody wants anyone to put their tribe down. So Bibisa will be able to get it defensive. So I agree with the lady 100% with everything she said. And it is something a high cost.
Okay.
That's not the first time I did this.
Great. Hold it right there. Okay. My next question, because of emergency, I don't want you to talk too much.
Yeah.
Bibisa said, wow, have you experienced tribalism in any way?
I would like to say yes in the context of whereby, for example, I think names with names.
In the names, okay.
When you mention your name, people tend not to put in an effort to actually even learn how to pronounce your name. Akwakwa said, "Omudiye no munim na no mopeso Inti wudi ni de oh me de mean to me."
But your name Tete is very easy to pronounce, so I'm very surprised.
Very easy. Ajao is also very easy, but they don't actually just put in the effort. What they see it as something they are not used to. So well, they are used to Opoku, Owusu, Ajema, Iman, so they don't want to put in an effort to learn any other name that is not part of their tribe. So begin to they lose interest. But just as you call school, Bibia you try you be an you start as in Kola, it was school you share Bibia you need to say no. They put words in front of you, you don't know how to pronounce it, but you take your time, learn it, and then try to get the pronunciation right. But after that, other tribes need we don't want to put in that effort. So, and we are very dismissive of it. And it happens all the time. Like, I remember having a conversation with somebody about the names of the days of the week. And and I'm telling the person, so we don't do days of the week. Yes, also na so bia ho a bia oni obi abon komo na o ka say o ye Monday dia nipa ni nim say o ye kujo na me say nipa na so ya kani a na obedwen sa but you kani dia that days of the week edin na emba ni twin and the person still didn't get my point, so they refuse to see say there's a different way other tribes also do things, and it's not just about them. Sometimes they miss that point, sometimes either unconscious or consciously.
Okay. Now, my question is, apart from this naming, are there any other tribal, like normally Emma, you have to be a tribalist, and I say,
me personally, I haven't had acts of tribalism being perpetuated against me, but sometimes indirectly you encounter something. There was once where a group of people speaking Ghana, and a Khan guy within our midst who was also speaking Ghana, because I'm also Tiaka is here. There was a Khan person who was passing by, noticed that the guy was speaking Ghana, and the person was like, now also Khan. There's a difference between now also Khan. That it becomes very offensive. So what you say? What exactly are you trying to say? Now also Khan. What exactly is the person trying to say? So what you say? So unconsciously or consciously, and I think we as a people in Ankasana are raised to be tribalistic based on where we're coming from. And subconscious mind, you must say the conscious mind, you might be aware of it, but when we're growing up, I believe that our parents, uncles, and aunties pass certain comments. They make certain comments within the household whereby people grow up with it not knowing that they are picked up certain things from family members. So it's been passed down to certain people. Said, maybe tribe say Mbafi, and I mean for tribe say Mbafi. You speak to people, and some people are bold enough to tell you, say, maybe I catch them and say, Mami Pastor say Mbafi.
Okay.
By empty. So we are raised within that tribalistic mind state, and I believe that it's either conscious or unconscious. It happens one way or the other.
There's a few friends here. I mean, you knew that I spent some of my time or my life in Accra,
Yeah.
And if I don't speak Ghana, I don't want to say 100% it's not my fault. But I try. I was born in the Zongo community. I said in my other video, I speak Hausa because I'm a young. I was able to speak with me the Abra, the I'm a common person. So at the point in time, the economic come off. But with Snapchat, I was trying to learn Ghana. I was able to take one word here and there, but certain and I can tell you, I'm not saying it on camera. Always you have to be wrong if me wrong guy. My background, I had a purpose. Most of my friends me now were not Kumasi guys. He said, "Yeah, not happy." Say, "Yeah, you can't for Kumasi media mention." But most of my friends, you know them. If I start me casting me good dinner, you know all of them.
Yeah, I know.
On your tema or your guy. From Audition to Kuma to David Matt, David Lomutenati, all of them, but Bentina is simply because Gabiana either some of the country or the Omeka tree. So next man can't cry if they're for that much.
Yeah.
What did they say?
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, also.
And I grew up dancing and best nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes no, I can't see the brain, no. Omo kakasana, it's not. It's too much of omo. You know, I'm not saying say we all know what the problem is. Just like I think we had a conversation and you said if there is a way to stop this tribalism, it must come from accounts. Because on the majority, a only responsibility.
Yeah.
What I say? Because almost the can say jaya. Because this tribalism, but out of pride and out of it is said you're out of pride. Wow, can I say pride in the bed, stressing the bit can be never. That's what I say. It is the owner's lies on their accounts to stop it. Then the bitterness from the other minority tribes will start. How do you say to Omo if Omo say now then I also won't cry and I won't hear it, but they get in platform.
Whole situation. I don't think that anybody should have, and it goes back to what we are discussing. Nobody should have an issue with somebody if the person cannot speak another Ghanaian language. There shouldn't be an issue. We should be able to coexist peacefully. If the Ubin can another language, because Ubia Yadini Krum Kasa and etc. So some of us are fortunate. Timika one or two. So
Yeah, I understand.
But you see, coming to Accra and not being able to speak Ghana is understandable, because over Accra you can easily get around Accra and speak Tree all your life. The beer waiting area, who can't treat out the South. So you can easily come to Accra and not be able to speak Ghana. You know what I'm saying? And Oba Emerson University, obviously you are occupied with other things. You know, and you know, the time now being and for me, you know, I don't think say it's an issue. Say if you are something in Kasafufu and I on and I don't think it's an issue. It becomes an issue where there are some people who have deliberately said on their own share, and you see that's where the issue of the tribalism is been. I somebody who stayed in Jamestown and also on their casa and anything. You understand? That's where the issues come.
So what you said, there were Ghana people so Madam to be you know, because of when this conversation came up, it's been long overdue. Said your kind. And my friend Madam Fidia also so the masters University of Ghana. No, I can say you are here or prepare after baby. I'm to down past sector area of the local refuge. So can you give me direction to this place? Omoka say one country and one can't sorry, and I one can't English. You're not going to respond. And yet the all can know you or what you know. Unless because this is a crown, so you have to speak the Ghana or you have to speak the Chi.
Yeah.
You have to speak the Ghana or English. That comes back to another question. This is two in one question. And then brophone there, I will be language, you know, the car. You guys are okay to respond, but I can't Ghanaian language. I will be doing Ghana and India. If you catch me and say, you know what, I'm not going to respond to that. Why? Why is that?
It goes back to the tribalism issue we are discussing. You see, brophone enya yekum kasa. Your colonial masters, it cuts across everyone else.
Okay.
The issue comes with Ubi Philly said on only tribe, like they said, you can Ubi full so being teaching into no Ghana. That's where that retaliation will come. Say, and the MSO won't see me chrome casa. Now, one pass, so now one can't what me chrome casa. Meso,
on it.
That's
the retaliation.
Retaliation. Brophone a general language, and you'll be a so it has no dominance over nobody. But when one wants to use their language as a dominance, I mean, we know there are people who have even tried to call say we should make a national language, which is very laughable. There are people who have tried to say that thing.
Pause on that.
Okay.
Fine. Chini, right? you know, our viewers out there, we just trying to play the devil's advocate. Yeah, but see, it can be and to make it normal personal. The issue about making chi or whatever, any Ghanaian language, a national language, you know, I don't mean who reasons here. A lot of people want to have a problem with that because at the end of the day, you know, said your work chi is very common. So if you want to make any Ghanaian language a national language, I'm not endorsing it, but all that I'm saying is that if it comes to the table, say okay, let's choose one Ghanaian language to make it national. I mean, obviously, I hope you understand my question.
I get your question, but because we have an issue with tribalism. And what is tribalism now? Where one tribe is exalting themselves over other tribes. So if we have a dominant tribe who is...
I got it.
Yes, so it wouldn't cut across, it wouldn't sit with anybody. And that's that's why we must learn to tackle tribalism very well and deal with it so that it disappears. If it disappears, we can easily pass some of these things and not have issues with it. But as long as we have tribalism still being prevalent within our communities, you know, so that's the issue with that national language issue. And I don't think any tribe will actually agree to that.
Because the Akans, or like they say, are the Ashantis, trying to feel superior over them.
Sort of tribalism. Yes. So I can say, why should it be your language? Why shouldn't it be another language? It will become an issue.
Okay.
You know, then that's it. You know, 100 years. So we have a national language already. Let's say what the colonial masters left us, which is English, and only that year was school Aviation. So to say we should go and pick somebody's tribe now, Kasa.
But are we not ashamed as Africans to can't be language a foreign and you fire slaves and we pride ourselves?
We don't pride ourselves in it. Because you see, English is a language that has crossed a lot of borders, and it ought to be heard very well across a lot of nations. English cuts across.
No, but we have other languages. Let's say Mandarin, Chinese, or whatever language. At Ethiopia, they have, Amharic or whatever.
Yeah.
We have Spanish and all these languages, and yet too much of continental, like English.
Continental, but there's a reason why.
India, Hindi. Okay. But they are still developed. But even most of African countries are almost some kind of it.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say. And I think the issue about we not developed or now say about English continental language should be a better mind.
I don't think it's got to do with better. The issue is we have a lot of different languages within our country as a whole. So to be able to choose one over the other will not work. That is why the acceptance of English as a natural language, sat very well with almost everybody. Because
okay.
I don't believe as anti-forward say any national language no more and I say any national language no more no, but they wouldn't agree to that. So though you are the majority, why would you also say any national language no being so there's a reason why we all speak different languages. And to be able to choose one, it won't work. So we have to meet somewhere.
Because of the rival, language. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why the English has sat so well, because we were different tribes. So we are kind of Kasa.
So just like our listeners out there, I mean, like I already said, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate. Say, okay, you saw me can be said, and you look good and corner. Is that how?
I don't think so. The choice of English as a national language was actually deliberate. I mean, the past leaders, they also be able to say, Buzi, Ammonia, you have said, even our current president, at His Excellency, winning the your fan accent, if it was because he couldn't break any out here. And you know, when I was growing up, the Motor Primary and JSS, it was actually punishable. So the Ghanaian language. Into me, I can substitute me cheap me perfect after me JSS. No, I think my core SSS. No, and I had the liberty to actually feel free to misbehave and do whatever. It was punishable. Into me and cheap. Into a couple. Into it was okay when it in those days. No, now you felt that was the thing. It was like that was the thing. It was so the couple. Near folks it was the proper thing to do. So I think English becoming the national language was not deliberate because of your differences, no, but it was because of colonial masters, no. Ijama anything about car and no about Dani and national language, no. However, after that, no, with the years gone by, no, our differences, no, are the dead too much.
Okay.
You see, I need to go back and change it and say, Yenfa Kasabi and your national language, you know. Ayedi. Because your differences, you know, very wide and we haven't tackled it. We still have people who are consciously practicing tribalism.
Yeah. I mean, to confirm what you're saying, Nimi France and I say the name Kafi cry,
yeah.
I had friends I'm doing school. Now on Kafi, but I'm say you cry, Kafi, come and all that. I mean, I'm doing class.
Yeah. What else in primary is the same.
Yes. On the mission, and it was after saying we are mature now, getting into Aviation, you know, I say you are getting independent, you know, I feel the old journey, you know, when I'm realizing, say, oh, okay, there, Ghana, we have tribal cracks here and there, you know, they all kind of play, but you are super, yes, they are lie. Now, I'm saying, you say you too much time of the US now.
Okay.
Maybe Sam said, what is the way forward? And before you get to that, you think, say, as a country, you know, Ghana, no, do we have to sit and have a conversation about this tribal issue? And I say, yeah, forget it, he said, because you need probably be sure you come on and say, I can't want to cry, it will be worse. It will be better said. You know, because not many advocacy say, will be to say, yeah, I say, India will keep for to bring, you know, God, or whatever. You know, coming in and then you should have a conversation about it, or public, like on a public TV. You know, they will talk about it. If there will be a problem, or will be what did the mission say? If now whatever, no more be on this, a cassette, car. Yet, maybe say a cassette, if you are any papa, if you are can, but we use the sarcasm or can't, you know, said or can unconsciously. When you Amana Ufili say, oh, okay, normal, you can't in panic, but if you're not deep within the Ufili pets say, I don't have cancer in this year. What them say, but you panic can't know. If you can say a high timer as Ghanaians, no, we involve our leaders. We don't want the politicians because they use it for their benefit, so we don't want them. But we want our traditional leaders who are always there for us. Transfer this the police okay, they can speak truth to power than politicians not about 4 years into just want to lie and go. You know, what they say a high timer as politicians, as Ghanaians, sorry. Yeah, that's not senior doing command.
Well, mainly I believe it's high time. Usually the funny thing is, what did you do this? I've been monitoring make for example, let's say, like we are so mixed. Over and for history, now what should I do? Back, who makes chess here some years back. So be aside discriminating against another tribe here.
Yourself in the leg.
Yes, you're shooting yourself in the leg. One. Sometimes it's because we do not actually know our history as well. So say the outcome, say elders, your chiefs will come together and discuss some of these things. It will shed more light on our history and we'll actually see how we are intermixed and actually throw away some of these things. But I believe, sir, also, if you want to get rid of some of these things, it starts from me and you. Just as you have started. The conversation must be ongoing. it's not something we have to shove under the rug. It's like it's the same as racism.
Okay.
People actually like what is happening here in America today because they believe that it is shedding a lot of light on things that have been kept under wraps for a long time. So if the conversation is not ongoing, you wouldn't have it being aired out. Here. When we speak about it, and then we call out people who take part, who partake in some of these things, people actually watch themselves. Here, Krumha law enforcement are being tackled left and right. Now, a lot of them are questioning certain behaviors that felt was normal practice. So that's the same way we have to treat tribalism. You call people out, and especially, I believe that the majority, have to call their people in order. If it be for even in the minority, if Sememi Kumi, yes, some tribal actor, if me checking or better I see more than an tribe so, this is how we have to work out for each other and try to put checks and balances on some of these things and question people and call them out and let them know that such practices doesn't work as in the long run. So we've had a lot of peace and harmony amongst us, and it has helped us, and that's what we're developing. Small misunderstandings, and countries like Liberia, Sierra Leone, Rwanda, and stuff went through certain phases of life. And as we sit here and we are having this discussion with everything that's going on in our country, Ghana, Liberia as a country has been set back. I can say about 200 years, all because of tribalism. That's it. And it led to just one person wanting to be in power, led to a whole lot of big fight. And now they have affected a whole generation of people. That generation have to die, their children have to die. It's a lot of years before they will recover. So it's something as a development as a nation. Grow, do some of these hypes, and then it's not social media need and paying for nothing. America, say you couldn't do some level now. You have to get rid of some of these things. Otherwise, that's small divine because obi wo ho betimi aye adwuma no po na onye ne tribe ni a ye mpese ye be mana akọ ni himself ase. Tribalism here and there.
Yeah. Now, what do you say of Nkofo? Say if you could George Floyd, they will say go on more. Or say Black Lives Matter, they will be a can once. But then again, you buy a Ghanaian community now, and you could feel back in Ghana, we discriminate among ourselves. What do you say to that? Because about Buchira, said your Kana. You don't know whether you are Khan or Ebe or Gan or whatever, or Lord now, Fra Gunja, you don't care. All they know is that we're foreign. If they treat you by your skin color. But once you're complaining, the whole idea we are unified. But when we go back home, okay, I think on the crown, what do you say to that?
I'm happy you brought this. I almost forgot something. What's our issue in the Bayern, George Floyd issue in the Bayern? People were posting it here, like you're saying, talking about racism here and there. There was a divide that came. There was this argument about racism being different from tribalism, where people were offended that when they were speaking about the racism which has got to do with the George Floyd, people were pointing it to them, said, you are practicing tribalism in your home, but you are speaking against racism. And then there was this argument whereby people wanted to say that racism is not the same as tribalism. Yeah. And they were saying, but the tenets are the same. It's a discriminatory act. So that is where the argument comes. So the tenets are the same. One tribe or one race being discriminated upon based on their tribe or their race. Discrimination comes in between. So it's the same thing. So I said. But there was something I noticed on social media. Whereas the people who were saying tribalism and racism are the same thing based on their tenets had a mixture of everybody within our country. There were even accounts on that direction.
Okay.
But I've realized that I would want to say everybody, but maybe somebody saw somebody else who posted that and who wasn't an account. So I can't say it was all the accounts.
Okay.
I will realize that most of the people I saw who were saying that tribalism is not the same as racism were Akans.
Okay.
And I got to understand. I got to understood why, because they have not actually experienced that sort of discrimination in their country before. If we are going to be fair and be objective, I think Akans hardly experienced tribalism in Ghana with that discrimination. They only come across discrimination when they try outside the country. So,
what I would say is that, just like you said, I mean, I'm speaking from my own perspective, okay? I can't have an experience with tribalism, but and yet as intensive as with the minority side, because if you may have that issue when, let's say, you are looking for a job, work office, you need your boss need a certain tribe. It's honestly okay on high simply because we're going to say okay, free a tribe. What did I mention? I say, I mean, but as compared to minority tribe, to say white attachment say we compare to them coin and not boss near black is or man father. You know, it's just isolated case, okay? But the kind of general terms I know say minorities.
Yes, so you see, I believe, sir, whenever people say something like that, say, oh, I can't, let me use that same example. Like with me saying, say, Akans have not experienced discrimination before. It doesn't mean that no Akan person has experienced discrimination in Ghana before. But how prevalent is it? So, that's the issue. That makes it so you put all of them in, because on a general scale, no, they hardly experience the kind of discrimination that, let's say, the other minority tribes, no, might face. Like, for example, like the Evers will face. So the kind of discrimination now, most of them do not go through it, so they do not understand how some of the minority tribes feel when it comes to tribalism and discrimination. Okay. So they experience that form of discrimination whenever they travel outside the country, whereby, like you were saying, so that where they experience that discrimination that comes against them, and then they speak out against it, and people point it out to them that it's the same as what you've been doing to other people back home. So because, and also a discriminatory act. There was that divide whereby here had a mixture of everybody saying it. It was mostly the account people who were saying tribalism is not the same as racism, but then on the tenets now. But it's the same thing. Yes.
Yes. I want you to summarize everything that you said. Let's say in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
The way forward, then we're just going to wrap up this whole conversation.
Okay. So I believe that the way forward is going to do with me and you. Like I said earlier, tribalism is an indoctrination thing. We are being indoctrinated to be tribalistic based on how we are brought up in our homes. So it starts from me and you as individuals, and the conversation being an ongoing topic whereby we address it and not be emotional about it, and be objective about the whole situation, and try to see the pointers, identify where we are going wrong and where we need to fix them, and then tackle some of these things. And like I said, we have to call out people who are practicing stuff like that or being headstrong when it comes to tribalism, and we have to point them out and let them know, call them out and let them know, say, this is not the way forward. If we actually want to progress, this is not how things are supposed to be done. Like I said earlier, if you check our history, now how we were intermixed and how tribes, diaspora, and some of these things, maybe we ancestor be cry,
it's just like a Christian saying someone is from somewhere, but I believe in the concept of Adam and Eve.
Yeah, you understand. So, once we get to understand some of these things and we speak about them, and then we let them, because there are a lot of acts that people do and it's unconscious, but some are still very conscious. So we have to point them out so that we'll be unconscious one, we'll be a tribalistic act. So when we point some of those things out and they know, people will refrain from some of those things, and then we can move forward as a nation.
But this, Mr. Tete, with you, yes, sir. Say, people might want to know more. But you say that was social media handles, the idea, we need to follow and know who you are. Are you okay to say they are out there to now?
I think my social media handle now has been dormant for a while, so I'll try and revive it and later. No, I think maybe we might have another conversation somewhere along the line, and they might be ready, and then I'll put them, and then
okay. But if you want to send any friends here out there, speak your mind, Zona. Remember my Paba. Now, so my catch will say, I know subscribe now. Watch share with family and friends. Just like I said, I want this conversation to keep going. And it's also being said, any diverse ideas now you want to share it. I mean, you're welcome. You can reach me out on social media like DDDNeado and won't send me a message that may reach out to you. Maybe I will be able. We can have a conversation about it. Now, we should share our experience. Say the bear, this member tribalism meaning ethnicity organ and another brass. The Damascus Pine and Islam. Now, the media.